All right, warm weather's here. What are we going to do about it? We've got to prep in a couple different ways. So heat is going to take you down with your performance. Expect it, get ready to change, be proactive. Well, it's all about acclimating to the temperature. And it hurts us in a number of different ways, but there are some things that we can do to stay ahead of it. So, first thing we want to do, which sounds a little funny, but we actually want more of it. We want to get our body used to it. And our body does adapt, but we want to do it in a progressive manner. And it's going to take us about 2 weeks to get this adaptation to be able to get back to close to our normal performance from cooler weather. So the first thing we want to do is make sure we get time in heat. And if we know we have some events coming up or some exercise that's going to be in a hot environment, but the weather dips back down, we can try to artificially create this too. You can even wear additional layers of clothing indoors and just create a warmer environment, or turn your AC off and even put the heat on a little bit and struggle through a couple workouts if you know you have something important coming up in a week or two. So on average, it's going to take us about 5 to 8 workouts, and these workouts should be relatively low intensity. Anytime that we put any effort into working out in heat, that's a big change for us. We're going to be less efficient. So we're going to have a bigger demand on our cardiovascular system. We're also going to run the risk of dehydration. So when we have that extra demand, think of that as taking your pace up on a run. So if you're used to running, doesn't matter, 8-minute mile, think about an additional 20 degrees outside. Let's say it goes from 60 to 80 degrees. You're really now doing the equivalent of like a 7:15. So that's a big change in heart rate, big change in demand. So we don't want to try to time our heat acclimation days on the days where we're asking a lot out of our body anyway. We want to do it on our easy runs, or whether it's a bike or a sports practice. Think of lower intensity, just log time. Get 20 to 30 minutes of outdoor activity in at relatively low intensity, and you're going to have to give yourself about 5 to 8 of these type of workout sessions before you can expect to feel better. If you're monitoring heart rate, you should see your heart rate start to come down at the same effort levels with the same temperatures once you're through that workout adaptation time. So again, number one, we just want to get out in the heat, and we want to spend some time in it, and we want to get our bodies to adapt. All right, number two, we know that dehydration is a big risk when we're overheated and we sweat more. So with an increase in sweat rate, we wind up losing more body water. And the decrease in body water is the number one cause of fatigue when it comes to sports performance. So if we're really not careful and not paying attention to it, it's not just a performance reducer, it's actually really unhealthy and can lead to heat exhaustion or even heat stroke. So we want to make sure that our water intake increases. We can do that in a couple different ways. Number one, we want to take in more water before we're in this hot exercise environment. So if your intake per hour is in a range of 16 ounces to about 32 ounces on the high side, and we've been using 16 to 20 ounces, as this heat comes into play and we're losing more fluid, we need to replace more. So I urge everybody to bump up to the higher end of this range. So if you're used to 16 to 20, we're now 24 to 32. If you're having issues, processing that, digesting that, it's giving you a stomach ache as you're working out, then you can go, in small increments and make sure we're not chugging water all at one time. Right? We're taking that water in about 4 to 6 ounce intakes or cups full, and then give yourself 10 to 15 minutes and do it again. But over the course of an hour workout, if we're sweating at a high rate or we're in this increased temperature, we need to make sure that we bump our water intake up. All right, number two, both pre and post, we need to be a little more proactive and reactive about that. So a good rule of thumb is to take your body weight in pounds, divide that by 2.2, and that number is going to give you your weight in kilograms. If you are looking for total water intake for the day as a target, just use that number of your weight in kilograms to shoot for your normal intake. On top of that intake is what you're actually taking in during your exercise. So that's not included, that is additional. So for example, if I weigh 85 kilograms, I need to make sure I take 85 ounces of water in throughout the day. And then if I work out for 1 hour, moderate to strenuous, in the heat, and I'm a heavy sweater, I'm having an additional 24 to 32 ounces on top of that 85 that I have in my day. If I lost weight during my workout, I want to make sure I'm replenishing that as well. So it starts with what are we doing for the whole day? Then what are we doing during our workout? And if we are behind, then it's replenishment. So I need to get back on. I need to increase my intake of water after my workout and check the scale. Another easy way to do it is to check the color of your urine. It should be pretty clear after a workout, especially before. So if we check before, urine's clear, we check after, and you either don't have to urinate for hours after, or when you do, it's yellow, it's pretty yellow and dark, then we know we're really dehydrated. So we didn't prep, we didn't meet the demand during, and we're going to have to do a lot of work to catch up. Also know that dehydration is going to affect you later that day if you have another athletic effort, like you're at a lacrosse tournament, you have multiple games, and it's also going to linger for 24 hours. It can hurt you the next day. So if we have back-to-back days of practice or games, or you're running, recreationally or just working outside in the heat, make sure that we understand the impact for back-to-back days, and we get ahead of our dehydration. The third big thing to think about and how to be proactive about helping our performance in the heat is to think about what else we're sweating out. And it's not just fluid, it's not just water. We're losing electrolytes. All right, what are electrolytes? Sodium, magnesium, potassium. All right, these are compounds in the body that we're losing through sweat, and we need to replenish them to make sure that we have a good fluid balance in our body. So our kidneys they do a wonderful job of balancing ratios of electrolytes to fluid in our cells. And if we are not being forward thinking about the loss of electrolytes, we can actually hurt ourselves trying to hydrate by throwing off our fluid balance. So ranges of this vary. The big one is sodium. So check out what you're eating throughout the day and also any electrolyte supplements that you're taking, and I'll name a few in a minute. But you want to think about a range from 300 milligrams to 700 milligrams per hour of moderate to high intensity exercise. All right, so a couple brands and a couple types of things that you can use out there. You can have electrolyte capsules that you would swallow with water. You can have tablets that dissolve in water and make your water taste better if you pick a good flavor. And that's usually a great way to hydrate for kids that want something other than just water to drink. And then we can also use some gels. Like gels usually we think of as like an energy replacement, and they do that as well. They provide carbohydrates. A lot of them will have an increase in electrolytes as well. A lot of them will have electrolytes in them as well. So just check your labels and make sure that if we are taking an energy replacement, if you're not supplementing with electrolytes in either like a powder mix for your drink or a tablet or a capsule like I mentioned, that the gel does have electrolytes in it as well. So some of the brands that we support here at Peak are Thorne. We like Thorne for our vitamins and minerals, and they make something called Catalyte. It's a combination of a couple minerals. It's a combination of some vitamins that are critical for performance, along with the electrolytes that I just mentioned. So Thorne Catalyte, number one, that's a powder replacement. We also like an energy and electrolyte replacement called Flow. So that's also a powder mix that you can put in your water bottle or your Camelback. And that's a great one to replace carbohydrates and electrolytes. Noon tablets. So they come in a sleeve of multiple servings. They're great for on the go. If you're going to be away all day at a lacrosse tournament, that's a great thing to have where you can pop tablets in throughout the day in bottles of water. So Noon is one that we recommend as well. Those are the three big ones that we use here. I'll put links to that in the description of this video. One other thing to add on that last topic is that the timing of our electrolytes is important as well. Our kidneys, as they filter our fluid balance and electrolytes in our blood and in our cells, they're going to understand and be able to, they are going to detect changes in our concentration. So if we start hydrating without electrolytes well in advance of our workout, we're actually changing the fluid electrolyte balance and dehydrating ourselves. So think about your first serving of electrolytes coming in around 90 minutes prior to exercise, and then supplement again during exercise, and that's going to be optimal. That serving should come with about 16 to 20 ounces of water, again 90 minutes prior. Hopefully these tips help you and you can get back on track with your performance in your warm weather sports.